like to thank you for your interest in training VA students seeking to use their VA educational benefits at your facility. Before we get started, let's go over a few key terms. Certificate of Eligibility. This is a document that the student will bring to you. The Certificate of Eligibility contains the amount of benefit the student has left in months and the level of benefit the student has. It's important for you to collect this document before a student enrolls because it allows you and the student to know the amount of time and what level of benefit the student has. An example would be, your program is 6 months long and the student only has 3 months worth of benefits left on their eligibility. Then the student and you would know that the VA would cover 3 months, but the student would be liable for the remaining 3 months. State Approving Agency. That's our office. We approve programs, but we are not the VA. We approve the programs, the VA makes the payments. The VA will make payments to you and the student. School Certifying Official. That's going to be you or someone at your facility. This person is required to take the School Certifying Official training at the VA's website. At the end of that training, a certificate will be produced. When you turn this application back into our office, please include a copy of that certificate. Department of Veterans Affairs. Like I said before, the Department of Veterans Affairs will make payments to your school and the student. Again, as a state approving agency, we are not the VA. Enrollment Manager. Whoever the designated certifying official is will go to the GI Bill's website and take training. A part of that training will teach them about how to gain access to the VA's certification platform called Enrollment Manager. In order to access Enrollment Manager, you will need to create an ID.me account. Important to note here, if you already have a personal ID.me account, do not create another one. You merely need to go into your personal profile under Manage and add your work email address. Facility code. This is your facility's unique identifier. This will be issued by the VA. Once we submit your approval to the VA, they will email to you and anyone designated as a certifying official a document that contains the facility code. That document is the VA Form 22-1998. It is important for you to look this document over. It will give you the facility code, as I said before, but it will also list the name of your facility, the address of your facility, all of the points of contact, emails, and phone numbers. You need to ensure that all of those are correct. Most importantly, on the 1998, you need to ensure that all of your programs are listed and they are listed how you want them to be. Again, if you have a program that's 300 clock hours, you need to check the 1998 to ensure that the VA put it in for 300 hours and not 30 hours. Likewise, you're checking the spelling of the names of all of your programs. Certification. Certification is what the certifying official will do via the VA's platform called Enrollment Manager. You must keep up with your students' attendance. Attendance is very important. At the end of each month, the certifying official will use the Enrollment Manager platform to let the VA know that the student stayed in class X amount of hours that month, or you will do this on the first day of the month for the previous month. Now let's take a look. The first document you will come to in the application packet is a checklist. It is just that, it's a checklist. Before you upload all of your documents to the secure link that we gave you, you'll need to go over this checklist, to ensure that you have everything that we've asked for. You may also use this document to ensure that you're collecting all of the documents that we've asked for. As you have the document, put your initials in this block. That lets us know that you have submitted the required documents. The first one is your student handbook and/or catalog, whatever it is that you call it. We need a copy of the most current catalog and/or student handbook. All schools must have an attendance policy for VA students. A student using VA educational benefits may not miss more than 10 consecutive days or more than 20% of the overall total of their program. This is why attendance is so important. If a student misses 1 day here, 2 days there, 3 days here, at the point that they reach 21%, that enrollment must be terminated with the VA. You must have this policy in writing in your student handbook. Because this is your initial application, this statement may not be in your handbook. So for the initial application, if you are not able to put it in your handbook, we will take it as an addendum on school letterhead. But know, the next time you do your approval, this statement must be in your student handbook or state it clearly on your student agreement or contract. Whatever your school issues to their student at the time that they enroll, whether you call it an agreement or a contract, we need a sample copy of that. It should not be student specific. If you have a different contract for each program, then we would need a sample of each of those contracts. Again, not student specific. If your school is a nonprofit school, we will need a copy of your nonprofit letter. If your school happens to be on a military base, you will have an MOU with the military. We will need a copy of that MOU. If your school is in a third-party agreement with another school, so for example, my school is on the corner of A. I get approved to have a CDL program. However, my school doesn't have trucks, nor do we have instructors. But school B across the street does have trucks, and they do have instructors. I go into a third-party contract with that school that my students will enroll at my school, but they will attend courses at your school, School B. That's, in our opinion, a third-party contract. You will have to provide, as a part of this application, a copy of that contract. And the school that you are in the contract with must also be approved by us. So if you are in third-party contracts with any other school, you may need to have them reach out to us the same time that you are reaching out to us to ensure that they are approved at the same time you are approved if they are not already approved by our department. Marketing and recruitment. We don't expect you to send us every single piece of marketing and recruitment material that you have. We're asking for a sampling of what you send to students or prospective students. We will, as a part of the approval process, look at your social media. But to get things started, give us a sample, one or two pieces of your recruitment materials. There is an entire section in this video about financial documents, so I'll only state here briefly, your financial documents may not be prepared by the owner. They must be prepared by a CPA. That CPA must include their notes that tell us what method they use, whether it be GAAP or cash basis, and give us their opinion. All of that information will be included in the notes page that was prepared by a CPA. The financial documents must include, at a minimum, the balance sheet and a statement of income and retained earnings, at a minimum, and we need 2 full years worth of financial documents. At the end of this training video, we do a whole section on the program list, so we will go over that later. This next section are supporting forms that will need to be included with the application. The first one is the VA Form 22-8794. This is a document that is between you and the VA, letting the VA know who the designating certifying official is for your school. This person must have access to the attendance records because when they go into the VA's platform and certify the student's attendance, they must be able to know what that student's attendance was. If your certified official changes at any time after this initial application, you will send a new 8794 directly to the VA at this email address. All certified officials must do the certified official training, and here is a link to that training. You will do the training at the GI Bill website. The next forms are the 1919, the 10-0144A. Statement regarding disallow and withdraw programs. It is important for you to read this document, and you will initial in each of the areas that you have read and understand each of the statements. A building description. I will go over this form, including the inventory form, a little bit later in this presentation. Change of address, you don't really need to do anything with that one right now, so we will skip that. You can put NA. Change of school ownership, you can put NA there as well because those two aren't relevant for you in your initial application. EFT, electronic funds transfer, I will go over this one a little bit later, as I will go over the shopping sheet. But for now, all schools must have a financial aid shopping sheet. With that, that ends this checklist. So use this as a document to help you know before you upload to your secure link. Go over each of these and initial that you have each of these things before you upload and hit submit. A quick thing, when you use our secure upload and you hit the submit button, it doesn't give you a confirmation that the information was received. What it will happen is you will see the information, you will see all of your files where you uploaded them. If you see every file that you think you should have uploaded, then you are fine. You can just close the window at that time. It does not send a message letting you know that we've received the information. In front of us now is the actual application for approval. Question 1, you will select non-college degree. Your facility type is a non-college degree program. It is not any of these others. Question 2A, you will put the name of your facility. You do not have a facility code yet, so you do not answer question 2B. Question 3A is the physical address of your institution. If your institution has a separate mailing address, say a P.O. box, you'll put that in 3B. 4 is the website of your school. You may go to the website, copy and paste that into here from the browser, or just type it in. Do not answer 5A or 5B. Part 3 will be the name of the certifying official or the owner or whoever's authorized to complete this application. 6B will be a signature, and 6C is a date. When it comes to signatures, we will only accept a wet signature, a digital signature, or a DocuSign signature. If you use DocuSign, make sure to include those pages that show that it was a DocuSign. Part A of the worksheet, you will select for number 1, initial application. You see that there are 2 other options, reapproval or approval updates. Your facility is required to do annual approvals with us, which is called a reapproval. 1 year from the effective date of this approval, you need to go ahead and reach out to us to send an updated application to you so that you could do a reapproval. Approval updates is if between this date and the next date that we approve you, say, for example, you were to increase your tuition or add another program. That's called an approval update. You will reach out to us to let us know something has changed, whether you moved, you changed your prices, you add a program, or your facility was sold. Reach out to us and we will send the appropriate application for the action you are requesting. Those are called approval updates. And remember, reapproval is what you will do annually. Every school must reach out to us to update their application annually. And that annual is typically 1 year from the date of this approval. You do not answer question 2, nor do you answer 3. Question 4, for 4C, you are a public, private for-profit, or private nonprofit. You will answer that question. And to answer these, you merely just put a check mark in the box. 5, your facility has been in operation for 2 years. And 6, your facility has not changed in ownership in the past 24 months. So 5 should be yes, 6 should be no. 7, what is the state governing body that authorizes your facility to operate legally within the state of Texas? Here you're going to write, for example, either Texas Workforce Commission, Texas Department of License and Regulation, TCOL, Health and Human Services, whoever your regulatory body is, you will answer that here on number 7. Remember, do not put initials, spell it out completely. Number 8, is your institution accredited or not accredited? If it is accredited, in number 9, you will put the name of your accrediting agency. And again, not the initials, you will put the actual name of your accrediting institution. Continuing on with Part A of the worksheet, General Information. These are the instructional modalities that you are seeking approval. As a non-college degree program, you will put resident training. You cannot use non-resident or distance learning. Non-college degree facilities are not allowed to teach any portion of their curriculum via distance learning. 100% of the instruction must be in class with the instructor and the student, same place, same time, all the time. 100% in class with the instructor and the student. 0 component can be online. Your school is not an independent study school. You're not contracted. You do not have remedial training. You may have supervised practical training. This is not meant if your school is a cosmetology or barber school and your students move to the shop floor. That's not supervised practical training in the VA's definition. Supervised practical training for the VA is a time when your students leave your facility to go to a different place. An example would be is if you are in a nursing aid program and you, at the last part, you go to a hospital, nursing home, or doctor's office for clinical rotations or something of that nature. That's supervised practical training. The students leave your facility and go to a different facility. Your program would not have cooperative courses, nor would it have farm courses. There would not be a combination of correspondence or in residence, non-residence, nor would there be other. So the only options for your school type is resident training and perhaps supervised practical training. next part of the application, you will need your student handbook and/or catalog, whatever your school calls it. Column A of question 11 are the set of questions that we will ask you. Column B is where you will put the name of the document, where the answer to question in 11A, and C is a page number. So for example, where can we find your facility's name, address, and telephone number? You would type 2425 Cosmetology School Student Handbook, cover page. For the second question, where can we find a listing of your institution's administrators and school officials? Again, you could do a copy paste, 2425 Cosmetology School Student Handbook 16, meaning it's on page 16. The next question, the calendar, your school's calendar showing holidays and the beginning and end date of each term. We do understand that non-college degree programs don't typically run on a semester basis like most of the colleges and community colleges. We do sometimes find that non-college degree programs will say things like, we start our programs every other Thursday or the first Monday of each month. What we expect to find in the handbook or catalog is a statement that says, and again, this is an example, cosmetology classes start the first Tuesday of each month. Barber classes start every other Thursday. We expect you to tell us when we can see that when classes start and when they end, and also what are the observed holidays for your institution. You'll tell us the grading system. You will tell us where the graduation requirements are, your academic probation and suspension policies. You will tell us how you maintain transcripts, and if a student wants to request a transcript, how they go about doing that. These are all things that need to be written into the handbook. You will have an attendance policy, and you will tell us where to find that. When it comes to the institution's policy on granting credit for prior education, we understand that sometimes what the student did, what the veteran or the dependent did in the military, does not actually equate to what your school is. However, the requirement is that every student must submit a copy of their military transcript if they were in the military, and copies of all transcripts from any program they've ever attended. There is no requirement for your school to give them credit, but you must collect those, and you must put that in writing in your handbook that they know that they are required to provide copies of their military transcript and all transcripts from any school that they may have attended. If your school is accredited, you will put who your accrediting body is, and you will also tell us where this code of conduct can be found. Continuing on, when it talks about your list of programs and the description and the outline, you're going to do a copy paste from above 2425 Cosmetology School Handbook or Catalog. Again, whatever your school calls it, you'll put it here and the page number. For non-college degree programs, you need to tell us how many of the hours, if it is a 1,000 clock hour program, of that 1,000 hours, how many of those hours are in theory, meaning in the classroom, and how many of those are practical training or on the shop floor. So if your program, again, is 1,000 hours, you may say something to the effect of 350 hours are theory, 750 hours are on the shop floor. So where in the handbook is that explained? You will also give us a description of your facilities and equipment. Now, there's another form later on in this application that I'm going to go over that will go over this in detail. But sometimes in a handbook, they may say, we are on the corner of 123 Happy Street in downtown Austin. We have a beautiful state-of-the-art 5,000 square foot building. You may describe your facility. If you do, tell us where in the handbook. If you don't, what you will write here is See attached. See attached building description. Now, this will spread out all the way for you, so don't worry that you don't see all of it here, but it will spread all the way out for you in your actual application. So you will put see attached building description. The next three questions here, they start with the word evidence, these next three questions. For the first one, evidence that instructors and their experience and qualifications and directors are adequate. What you're going to attach to your application, what you will type here is see instructor credentials. That is what you will attach here. See instructor credentials. What you will attach are all of your instructor license from whatever the regulatory body is, and they should be current. Well, they must be current, and the school license. So if it's a TDLR school, we need to see 2 years worth of your TDLR license, the current year and the previous year. For your instructors, we just need their current license. So again, you will type here, see instructor credentials. The next two questions, you will type in this area, see attached Excel sheet. These two questions must be see attached Excel sheet because the answer to these questions are on the Excel sheet that we sent to you. We will go over the Excel sheet a little bit later in this presentation. And as we said before, your school doesn't have remedial courses, so you can skip this area. As a non-college degree facility, you must continue on and answer these questions. Tell us where in your handbook that we can find the tuition and fees. The name of your governing body. Where in your handbook does it say that you are approved by whoever your regulatory body is? Where in your handbook does it tell us who your instructors are and what their qualifications are? So, for example, your handbook might say that you list all 5 of your instructors. You may list their years of experience and their license number. If you have that in your handbook, you need to tell us what page it's on. If it isn't in your handbook, you will type again here, see attached Excel sheet. So if the answer to this question is not in your handbook, you will put see attached Excel sheet because that information is on the Excel sheet. Again, you're going to tell us where to find the attendance policy, and do know that you must have a pro rata refund policy, that you cannot keep more than $10 of the registration fee, and the admissions requirement. Where in your handbook does it tell us what a student needs to be admitted, or tell a student what it takes to be admitted into your program? The answers to 12 and 13A hopefully is no. If the answer to either of these questions is yes, the person processing this application will stop and they will reach out to a supervisor to find out if the reason you answered yes is a reason that we cannot move forward with the application, or if we can. So just know, if you answer yes, you must explain your yes answer, and depending on what that answer is, we may or may not be able to move forward with the approval. So hopefully the answer to 12 and 13 are both no. For accredited facilities, which you would not be, this is for non-accredited, you're going to skip 13B and 14. You're going to move on to number 15. You're going to answer yes or no. Hopefully, you think that you are financially sound. We will check your financial soundness. I will give you more instruction on how we do financial stability and what we expect from your school to be able to measure your financial stability. But for the purpose of the application, you should answer yes, that you think your school is financially stable. And finally, part 4, you will read all of these questions and put your initials that you have read and you agree with them. The rest of the application. If above you had say for the questions that you would say whether or not you've had any complaints against your facility, if you needed additional room to explain anything, that is what question 22, the remarks box, is for. Anything that you need to explain, you don't need to put it on a separate sheet. You just put that answer here. The first supporting document that we are going to look at is the VA Form 22-8794. This is the designation of certifying official. In order to be a certifying official, you must take SCO training. You take that SCO training at the GI Bill's website. You will click here to access that training. Once inside the VA's website, it will ask you to create an account. And in order to create an account, you need a facility code. Your school does not have a code yet, so the VA set up this code 12345678 as the training code. So when you create your account, use 12345678 to allow you to create an account to access all of the training. Once inside of the training, you will click on non-college degree. That is the only training that you will do. You will not do the training for flight schools or high schools or any of those other programs. There are a number of different types of programs listed. You are doing the non-college degree program. That's the training you do. It is a series of modules. You will start at the first module and work your way through all of them. At the end of the modules, you will receive a certificate of training. You need to attach that training with this application to return it to us. After the first time you do the certificate, the designation of certifying official, you don't send this document to our office anymore. If, say, for example, 3 months down the road, you get a new certifying official, you will complete this form, the 22-8794, but don't return it to us. You will turn it in directly to the VA at this email address. You may access the training here as well. I do want to go back up here. These are links to some things that may be helpful to you as a new certifying official. This is the actual 22-8794. You will put your school's name and address here. You do not have a facility code, so you leave this blank. But again, 3-4 months down the road or a year from now, you get a new certifying official. You will complete this document, but this time you will put your facility code in. But for the purpose of this application, you leave it blank. The designated certifying official will put their information here. The date the 305 training it was completed is the date that the person went and did the SCO training at the GI Bill website. They must answer yes or no to this question. If they are a veteran using VA educational benefits at another location, they answer with yes. If the person is not using VA educational benefits or is not a veteran, you answer no. It is recommended that your facility have more than one designated certifying official. Whoever is the second person will go here. You may have as many designated certifying officials as you like. You may also designate people to be only read-only, meaning they don't have access to change any of the information in the VA's platform, but you do want them to be able to log in and see things. Those people will be noted here as read only. Anyone that will be designated up here as a certifying official, they must also do the SCO training at the GI Bill website and add their training certificate to the application. If they are read only, they are not required to do training. And again, the signature authority will sign and date this page. The conflicting interest statement. Name and address of the institution. It is important you must read this statement. If no one at your institution fits this description, you type the word none. Do not use NA and do not leave it blank. Type the word none. You will do the same thing here. Read this statement. If it does not apply, type the word none. If it does, you will fill out the information. And again, the signature authority will complete the bottom. The next one is a statement of assurance of compliance with equal opportunity laws. Name of your organization here. Sign it. Put your name and the mailing address. In the application, on the first page, you told us if your facility had a separate mailing address. We used, for an example, if you have, in addition to your physical address, you use a P.O. box. That P.O. box address is what goes here. So if you told us that there is a different address, you will put that here. If there is no different address and your physical address is also your mailing address, that is what you put here. This one is the distance education acknowledgement. I said earlier that non-college degree programs may not teach any component of their instruction via distance learning. 100% of what you teach must be in resident, the instructor, and the student at the same time. The student may do homework online, that's totally okay. Workbooks may be online, but the instruction must be 100% in person, the instructor and the student in the same place at the same time at your facility. And you will sign and date. This is a statement regarding disallow and withdrawal of programs. You must read all of these statements and initial that you've read them. And you will sign and date the bottom. Building description. Name of your building, the physical address of the building, and the type construction. Whether it be a wood building, a metal building, brick building, you tell us the type of construction. You will also need to let us know the amount of students that you can handle. So in the mornings, say your classroom has 10 desks and 10 chairs, then that means you can handle 10 students. In the afternoon or evening, if the same students are there in the morning, they come back for the afternoon class, and it's the same set of 10 people, you don't put another 10 here because it's still the same 10 students from the morning. However, if you do a night class and it's not the same as a morning students, you would tell us how many students you teach at night. You will give us the square feet of your building and the state of repair. You will also submit a drawing of your building. So if it's a rectangle or a square, you draw it, you tell us where the classrooms are, how many desks and chairs. You will show where the desks and chairs are. You will show us where the workstations are. You can also submit pictures of your facility. Make sure you give us detailed pictures of where everything is, meaning the desks, the chairs, the wash stations, computer racks, whatever it is. And then sign and date it. The inventory of furniture. Again, your name and physical address at the top. Here, you're going to tell us, for example, classroom 100 or classroom A, whatever you call the classroom. You're going to say classroom A, tables 10, chairs 20. Classroom B, tables 10, chairs 20. Shop floor, barber chairs 10. Classroom C, manicure stations 5. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying. You don't have to go and inventory every single towel or shears or how many tool bags you have. We're only interested in what are the big pieces of equipment that are in the classrooms or the shop floor that the students will be working with. And again, you're going to sign and date the bottom. The next one is your direct deposit information. The VA will send you a direct deposit. They will not send you a paper check. So on your school letterhead, in this order and this order only, you need to put your banking information for the VA. And again, this is a sample. Do not write your information on this form. You would use your letterhead and put this information in the same order and sign and date it and put your phone number. So that ends the additional documents that you have to provide with this application. The next thing that we will talk about is the financial aid shopping sheet that is required for all students. The financial aid shopping sheet is a requirement of the law that all schools provide to VA eligible students using their VA educational benefit, a financial aid shopping sheet. This is the law that says that this is a requirement. You can click on this to read the law if you like. A school can use the attached financial aid shopping sheet that we've provided. You can actually write on this and it will calculate the numbers for you. If you choose to use this financial aid shopping sheet, you only put your school's name here, and that's it. That will and you return it as a part of the application. That lets us know that if we come to your school to look at your student files, this is a shopping sheet that you will give to every student. When you pass this out to your students, again, your school's name will go here, the student's name will go here, and the date the document was given to them will go here. All of these may not pertain to your school. You will only put information that's relevant to your school. If your school decides that it wants to create its own shopping sheet, it must include all 11 of these items. It must include all 11 of these items. So you are free to create your own. You'll just need to turn it back in as a part of the application, and it tells us what your costs are. Or you are welcome to use this one. But whichever, we need to see a financial aid shopping sheet in all students' files. If you have questions about any of the things that are on the financial aid shopping sheet, here is a little glossary that gives you some of the terms. Now I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about the financial documents requirement. You must provide 2 years worth of financial documents so that we can evaluate your school's financial stability. Your financial documents must contain, at a minimum, the balance sheet and the statement of income. It must also come with the auditor's, the CPA's notes. Here are a few examples of what we will accept and what we will not accept from a CPA. This CPA clearly tells us who the company is and the years that they did this audit for. They also tell us that it is an independent auditor's report. There are 3 types of reports that a CPA can provide. They can do an audit, a compilation, or a review. Compilation being the least expensive. We will take any of the 3 as long as it's done by a CPA and is either audit, review, or compilation. The other thing is it must be GAAP or cash basis only. So again, this is what a auditor's report looks like. Again, it's telling who the CPA is, the name of the company. They're certified public accountants. They give us their opinion. They give us the basis for the opinion. They tell us it was done as on cash flow. They tell us also that it was in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So the CPA is telling us what it is that they did. They give us their opinion, the basis for their opinion. They're giving us a period of time that they looked at. Here is an example of what we will not accept. This is from a bookkeeper. We don't accept documents that come from a bookkeeper. So you see the difference between something that looks like this and something that looks like this. Here's another example of something that comes from a CPA. It isn't nearly as extensive as the first one we looked at, but again, the CPA is telling us these are audited financials. This is the year that they audited. They tell us they use government accounting principles, the GAAP, and then they tell us what they did their basis on, their opinion. So again, these are documents that are good, that we will accept from an auditor, from a certified public accountant. These are documents we will not accept from a bookkeeper. The documents cannot be from owner prepared, meaning the owner can't prepare the document. They must come from a CPA. We must have 2 years worth. They must either be GAAP or cash basis, and they must be accompanied by the auditor's notes. The auditor's notes give us how they did it, and it tells us their opinion. And it also tells us the method that they use, either cash or GAAP. So here is the Excel spreadsheet that you will use to submit your list of approved programs. I've created a sample here. So the program type is going to be, in this example, Class A Barber is the name of the program. The vocational objective, once I graduate your program, the type job I can apply for, which is Class A Barber. You come over on line 6, column C, do the drop down, and you are a certificate program. You can skip CIP code. And because this is the first time you've done an application with us, you will select New. Your program is new to us. You will not put an effective date. When it comes to theory lecture, this should match what's in your handbook. And again, for example, I'm going to say 300 hours of theory and 700 hours worth of time spent on the shop floor, for a total of 1,000 hours. The link type will be clock hours. We're going to move it down a little bit. The estimated enrollment, this goes to the classroom drawings that you gave us. So we will say, you said in classroom 1, you can only hold 10 students. So you would put total enrollment limit of 10. Then next, you're going to tell us what page in your handbook we will be able to find the description of this program. We talked earlier in the presentation about the two things that go together, where it talks about the breakdown of the hours. So you would put that here. So I'm going to say page 25. Do you have a contracted program? Yes or no? In this example, I'm going to use no. And that would be all that you would do on that line. So let's say you have these additional programs. You would just follow along the same thing. There's a certificate, your new, the hours, the clock hours, 1,000 is the length of the program, and it is measured in clock hours. But in this case, in classroom 2, you can hold 25 students. So we'll put 25 here. And this is on page 26 in your handbook, and it is not contracted. So let's talk a little bit about these other options you have here under status. You have the ability to say new, which is what you are doing in your initial application. The next time, next year, when you do your annual approval, you will change it from new to still approved. So you will do the drop down and you'll click on still approved. Do the drop down, click on still approved. But let's just say next year you're going to bring on a new person, which is manicurist, and the job that you can apply for is nail technician. Certificate program. In this case, this program is new, and then you will follow through doing all of the additional things. Let's say you were teaching Class A barber during the first initial application with us, but you've decided you will no longer teach Class A barber crossover. So you would click no longer offered. If you choose anything other than still approved, you must give us an effective date. So when did you get approved by TDLR to teach this new program? And we will say August 1st of 24. What date did you stop teaching barber crossover? 5/1/23. And again, we're just making things up. So let's just say barber crossover was not necessarily no longer offered. Maybe your decision is we're going to teach it out. You currently have students in it, and you want to ensure that those students get to finish before you no longer teach it. So in this case, you call it teach out, and again, you will give us the effective date of when you will teach it out, meaning when the last student will graduate. Let's go up to Class A Barber. We're still looking at all of your options. Say we change from Class A Barber, we're wanting to do now a name change. So you do name change. It's Class A Barber. All of this is still the same, but you come over here where it says school remarks, and you're going to tell us what the old name was. So you're going to type old name was just plain barber. So what that tells us is the new name is Class A Barber. The old name was barber. So when we go to update your approval in Weems, we know what old program to go and remove or change the name of. You would do the same thing, for example, if you change your hours. So if your program went from 1,000 hours to 1,050, you're going to click on change hours. You're putting what it currently is 1,000, but you will tell us over here, old hours was 1,500. The new hours are now 1,000. So that's how you use the Excel spreadsheet to tell us what you need us to do with the programs that you're seeking approval for. Next, you'll click on the tab that's called Instructors. So click on that, and I gave you an example. We have instructor James Carroll. The names of the instructors that you put here must match the name of the instructors that you give us in your handbook and the TDLR license or whatever instructor credentials you submit. All of that needs to match. So in this example, James Carroll, his position with my school is instructor in Class A barber, and his credentials are his TDL license and his TDL license number. Say we were a welding school. James Carroll, instructor, welding level 1. His credentials are Master Welder Certificate by the American Welding Society. And what you would attach for James Carroll, the welder, is that American Welding Society certificate. So with that, that concludes the Excel spreadsheet that you must complete and submit with each program approval. So let's review. When you submit the application to us, we request that you allow the state approving agency, our office, about 25 days. Currently, as I speak today, it only takes us about a week to 2 weeks to process the approval before we reach out to your facility to set up an on-site visit. When your application is ready for approval, as I just said, a member of our compliance team will schedule an on-site visit with your school. What we will do during an on-site visit is basically verify all of the information that you submitted to us in your catalog in the application about your facility. And we will also give you some educational documents that will help you in certifying student veterans. Once the SAA completes the approval process, the designated certifying official will receive an email with the approval documents from our office. We would expect you to review that email, and if you note any issues with that email, and mostly you're looking at your program list, we want to make sure that you requested 1,000 hours for Class A barber, that is what we submitted to the VA. So you're checking all of the documents that we emailed to you, because those are the documents we will send to the VA. Verify that we got your school address correct. Verify that we spelled everyone's name correctly. Within a month of us submitting the approval documents to the VA, everyone noted on the 8794 as designated certifying officials will receive an email from a va.gov email address. This will contain your 22-1998 and your facility code. You need to review the 22-1998 because, again, a human being at the VA is inputting your programs based on what we've submitted to them into the VA's database called WEAMS. VA will make payment to your facility and the student based on the information noted in WEAMS. So it's very important when you get that 1998 to proof it. If you applied for 1,000 hours, but someone typed 100, you need to let us know right away, because if not, if you certify a student for 1,000 hours, the VA will stop payment after 100 hours. So again, when we email the application to you, you're verifying that everything that we send you is correct. When you receive the 22-1998 from the VA, you will verify that they also put the information correct in the WEAMS program. With the facility code and an ID.me account, you are ready to certify your students. If you have any questions or need any further assistance, you can always reach out to us. So, I want to go over a few things that are going to be best practices for you. Submit your application with the required PDF documents and the Excel spreadsheet. The required documents are the school license for the past 2 years, current instructor license for all of your instructors, student contract or agreement, whatever your student signs at the time they are admitted into your program, we need a sample copy of it, your student handbook or catalog, whatever your school calls it, 2 years' worth of financial documents prepared by a CPA, may be cash basis or GAAP. Financial documents must come from a CPA, and they must have the cover page where the CPA indicates the method that he or she used to prepare your documents. We want you to review everything for completeness before uploading your documents to us. We will provide you with a secure link where you can upload your documents. Do not piecemeal uploading your documents. Make sure, based on the checklist that we provided you, that you have everything that we've requested and upload all of your documents at one time. You will not get a notification that your documents have been received. When you see the documents in the file, you will know that we have them. At that point, a program specialist will reach out to you. That program specialist will work with you throughout the approval process. Make sure that the person submitting the application or someone that can answer questions about the application is available. I would like to thank you for your interest in becoming an approved facility. Do not hesitate to reach out to us if you need assistance. Email us at education@tvc.texas.gov.